So, Sony is forced to show the anti-consumerism. Um, so I'm pretty sure if you're in the gaming space, you've probably already heard because there's no gaming news. And gamers nowadays really don't care about games. They just care about the politics of gaming, which is, I guess that's per the course, right? Um, so I guess I'll get into it in a very rudimentary way because I don't have all of the information in front of me, and I feel like I don't need to invest that much time into something that really doesn't help me play any video games. So, from what I understand, Microsoft asked for the inner workings of Sony and their particular deals going all the way back to 2011, if I'm not mistaken. And what Sony ended up doing is asking to actually, I believe, not do it at all. But if they are going to do it, limit the amount of data that they had, such as like reviews and just things of that nature. And what ended up happening was the complete denial was rejected, but the limited version of what Sony has to provide to Microsoft for this particular case was granted. So, I mean, ultimately, it looks like Sony got what he wanted in the first place. What I'm curious about is the stuff that I see online, basically, when it comes to people that are fans of Xbox, claiming that, oh, we get to finally see how anti-consumer Sony is. And these people are not like 18-year-olds. These people are like, I don't know, 37-year-olds, 35-year-olds, 30-year-olds. And the reason why I mention that is not because of maturity level. It's quite frankly, you had to have been there for the Xbox 360, PS3 era, where there was nothing but marketing deals going on. And the same thing kind of goes with, Nintendo with Monster Hunter. Remember that Monster Hunter claim to fame was on the PSP, and all of a sudden there was no Monster Hunter on the PSP anymore. It was on the 3DS, which allowed for it to be successful, more successful than it could have been. And there's still some particular deals as well. The same thing with Bayonetta as well. Nintendo doesn't own that studio, but here we have Bayonetta that's on there. Now people can argue, oh, well, they pitched to other people and nobody wanted to foot the bill. We don't know exactly what's going on with these other deals as well, such as, Square Enix with their Final Fantasy exclusivity and just various different places. So we don't exactly know what's going on behind the scenes in that regard. So can't really say too much about that. But okay. So the focus on what I was referring to is, I don't know if people remember the DLC for Grand Theft Auto 4 back in the PS3 and the Xbox 360 days. The fact that Square Enix released their Final Fantasy 13. You have Namco Bandai with their particular fighting games, and a lot of these games and the clauses for putting games on the 360, which would allow for parity. If I'm not mistaken, and you can kind of look this up on your own will, clearly stated that the game could not utilize or exploit anything unique on any other platform, or else they wouldn't be able to release on a platform. And their leverage was because they had more units in that particular area. So it kind of tied the developers' hands in terms of utilizing things. So you got a lot of games, and it probably was a little bit more deep than that. Some games flat out didn't work well, It was just the strangest thing back then. No one seemed to have given a damn about these particular backroom deals when it benefited Microsoft. And I'm not just talking about the Xbox. I'm talking about the media. You know what I mean? It seems to be, when it comes to Sony, there's always an issue, which is always going to be the strangest thing to me. It doesn't make any sense that people feel the way that they feel about Sony when Sony consistently release games of high caliber. Whether you like them or not, Walking Simulator, or what is it? Just story driven, one and done games. However way you want to see it. Whatever it is, it brings everybody to the yard of the PlayStation. Is one of the reasons why they have the dominance that they have. That's one of the strategies that they have, is to, you know, provide something flashy every so often, and while you wait for the other flashy things, whether you want it or not, well, you can quite frankly play third-party games or free-to-play games or any of these games while you wait. It just, to me, it always seems very interesting to see that people have a dog in this fight. You know, it's weird to me that they're so adamant about protecting this company that hasn't really provided them with much of anything for the past 7 years. You know, the promise of Game Pass was something that was interesting if you could provide the content, and they weren't able to provide the content enough for the service to grow. It just flat out didn't. People can play semantics and claim that, oh, okay, well, you know, it may not appeal to you, but it appeals to me, and I save money, and whatever the hell you guys say. But regardless of the matter, that's what it is. If it was so great, then how come it's not growing? And it's not the de facto, service to allow for an increase of console sales. As a matter of fact, Microsoft had a couple of different points within this case that stated that it actually cannibalized games. It slowed gaming sales. You know, and I guess they're doing whatever it takes to get that Activision deal. You know, but a lot of truths has been released within this case. It's weird to me because a lot of people claim to care about gaming, and they want competition. But it's like, you want competition, but you already had those games on the console. What competition? Like, you know, see, that's why there's a point of contention in the first place, because it's not like Sony kept Call of Duty or any of these games away from other platforms, you know, and it's not like you're going to remove the game from said platform, the PlayStation, if you do buy it. So what is the point of you buying it? What does that have anything to do with competition? That's why it looks strange to people. It doesn't make any sense. You know, when people kind of analyze what's happening, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You know, I don't really give a damn, to be honest with you, about Call of Duty. To be honest, I think Call of Duty is such a toxic game. It's a toxic game and a toxic gamer model. That's my beliefs with this title. I really couldn't care less about the damn title. Or you know, this particular topic, but what I did want to talk about is how people, I don't know, like, people just kind of want to get into politics and not understand gaming politics and not understand what it means exactly, what's the ramifications, or I guess they don't care, or they want to be concerned just for sake of being concerned, which is concerning to me. So it's just weird. Well, let me know what you think in the comments of the points that I've actually made, because I can't make heads or tails out of what the media is doing. Because you remember they were trying to push Game Pass and how Sony needed a competitor or to compete and not know the ramifications. I mean, apparently I had like a video a couple days ago stating that gaming development is very, very expensive, and a Game Pass model just wouldn't work with the kind of games that you are expecting. Yeah, let me know what you think.